Tamil Nadu government versus ED again, and this has played out in the Supreme Court today. Supreme Court has granted bail to arrested ED officer Ankit Tiwari. Supreme Court, in fact, said that ED officer Ankit Tiwari has to surrender his passport. Ankit Tiwari was arrested in December 2023 by Tamil Nadu police. In fact, Ankit Tiwari was accused in a bribery case. Earlier, the Supreme Court had halted Tamil Nadu's police investigation. Sam, tell us what is this update on this case? Remember, Supreme Court had stalled Tamil Nadu police's investigation in this case, but today, of course, Supreme Court has again granted bail to the arrested ED officer.
This Enforcement Directorate officer Vasudha was arrested in December last year while he allegedly received a 20 lakh rupee bribe from a doctor. And at that time, the Directorate of Vigilance and Anti-Corruption officials in Tamil Nadu, they had alleged that he had originally demanded a crore rupee as bribe and then settled for a 51 lakh bribe. And he was caught red-handed when he, as part of that deal, received 20 lakh rupees as bribe. And at that time, he had applied for bail. The lower court did not grant him bail. Meanwhile, the Enforcement Directorate also had moved the Supreme Court, which at that point in time had stayed the probe into this case by Tamil Nadu authorities. And although charge sheet was not filed, and on that ground, when Ankit Tiwari had moved the court asking for bail, the court could not take a call because on the one hand, the Supreme Court had stayed the probe and they weren't too sure whether they could actually accept the charge sheet filed by the Tamil Nadu investigative agencies, and that's why it kind of a limbo-like situation. And he moved the Supreme Court, and now the Supreme Court has given conditional bail. And when this arrest was made, it came as a huge embarrassment for Enforcement Directorate officials. Many state governments had used this as what they called an example of how Enforcement Directorate authorities intimidate, indulge in bribery and corrupt practices. And in the context of the more recent development with regard to the expose, with regard to electoral bonds, this could again be seen as how in various cases opposition parties alleged that Enforcement Directorate authorities were either intimidated companies and groups earlier, or they had donated money for political parties after their searches are raised by these agencies. And it's in this larger context, this case could be an embarrassment for Enforcement Directorate. But the truth, one can get into the bottom of this case to get to the truth only when the probe is completed, and that can happen only after the Supreme Court takes a call on whether agencies in Tamil Nadu could probe this case or not.
Right. Thank you, Sam Daniel, for joining us with those details.